will take you through the installation process here, and we will start by removing the seat from the car. And it's mounted with 4 bolts, 2 in the front and 2 in the back here, and it's Allen key head bolts. So let's start by removing these bolts. Okay, so the first 2 bolts in the front are now removed. Let's do the rear ones. And we need to slide the seat forward to be able to reach them. The first step is to remove these connectors that are zip tied here, and we will also disconnect this gray connector here. A good tip is to protect the plastic cover here with some masking tape. When I did the right side, I managed to scratch the plastic cover here a bit. Okay, you can't see it, it's deep down there, but I will put some protective tape here before I remove the seat. So I have now protected the areas where it's risk to damage the plastic covers. So let's try to remove the seat. I found the easiest way to remove the seat is to just lift it up and get it free from the bolts in the back here, and then sort of tilt the headrest into the car, so the base of the seat will come out first, and last the headrest. This is how the underside of the seat is looking, and what we're going to do right now is to remove the stock brackets, and they are mounted by Torx screws, and there are 3 on this side and there are 2 on this side, and we have 2 right in the front here of the sliders. And then what you will have to do is to release the slider and push them so the holes here line up with the bolts. You can see there are Torx bolts here down in the holes here. So we have 1, 2, 3 on this side, and on this side we have 1 and 2. So 5 bolts in total. This is my savior. I'll just try to reach them here. first bolt here. Perfect. And here's the second one. So if you don't have this kind of tool, this will save you a lot of times reaching bolts that you drop into cramped spaces and so on. So invest in one of these. Five bolts out, and now I should be able to remove the whole slider assembly here. Yes, but as you can see here, I will try to rearrange the camera so you can see. The whole slider assembly is attached to the wire to the seat folding handle here. So you have to release it from the tab, and in order to do that you just sort of pry it loose, and then it comes loose here. Very easy. And now I have the whole slider assembly here as one package. And on this side we don't have to change the lever, so we just let it sit as it is and put it to the side for the moment. And then we loosen the brackets here and replace them with the lowering brackets instead. Let's mount this new lever here. It will go right here instead of this one, which is too high, so the seat can't come down. And it just it's pinched in these forks here, this fork here and this fork here. Just slide it in and locked to a tab here. But I guess you can do it in two ways. Either you can sort of bend and pry this out, but I am a little bit afraid that if I bend this, it won't come back out. So what I will do, I will loosen this bolt, loosen this slider to separate them, remove this lever and put this new back in, and then attach the bolt here again. But I think that I need to take some measurements here between these, so I don't change anything when I put it back together again. Should be able to slide the chair back and forth. Okay, it's working. Good. So the next step is to loosen the bracket for the seatbelt lock here, and it's number 17 under this plastic cover here. And I briefly put this back in so it will stay in place when I loosen this bolt here. So now I have this bracket loose, and I will replace this with another one that's included in the kit for repositioning the locking mechanism here. Next step is to release the wire from the seatbelt lock, and it's attached here with a clip and runs down here, goes underneath the stock bracket here, and finally it's attached here on the side of the stock bracket. So we have to release it from here and here. So, and then I get it out. Easy peasy. So the next step is to remove the stock brackets, and they are attached with 8 bolts on each side. So you have one down here, here you have 2, and up here you have a 4th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And on the other side it's the same. You have 1, 2, 3 and 4. The lowering brackets are attached with 3 bolts on each side, so 6 in total. Before I will loosen the bolts on this side, I will remove this plastic cover. I need to remove it anyway in order to get the new lowering bracket in place, and it's also a risk of scratching it and so on. So, and they are just held in place by 3 small Torx screws here. Very easy to loosen this, so it's just stupid not to. If you scratch this one. Before you can remove the bracket, you need to loosen the wire here that is attached to this sort of fork. It's just a matter of sort of prying it out. So there it came loose. So now I have the stock brackets loose. And this whole assembly here is what I'm going to replace with the lowering brackets. And as you can see, the stock ones are connected by some piping here, and it's welded together. So it's a whole, sort of a whole assembly. The lowering brackets are not going to be connected by welded piping. Let's see what the difference is here. I will measure it. The top side of the lowering bracket to the top side of the stock bracket is actually, it's more than 25 millimeters. It's like 27 or something. Yeah, you can see for yourself. So maybe in my previous video I mentioned that they claim 25 millimeters. And some other people say 30 millimeters. I guess it's in between these two measurements. So somewhere between 25 and 30 millimeters lower than stock. So interesting. Everything is prepared to install the lowering brackets here. As you can see here, you have clips that sticks out here that will be in the way. It's not possible to mount a new bracket without cutting them down a bit. The stock brackets actually have holes in them here that these clips stick through. And here you can see the stainless fork that I actually have moved it back one step, because from the factory it was mounted one hole further down here. And I noticed that the wire became too slack, and I wanted to tighten it up a little bit. So I moved it, and instead of using the bolts, I have now attached it with some stainless rivets in order to get it a more of a stock feel. So the new lowering brackets are on, but they are just loosely fitted because I won't torque them down before I have attached the sliding assembly in order to get everything to line up. So let's put on the sliding assembly first. Now with the brackets in place and the seat on the side here, we have three things to do. We need to connect the wire to the tab. We need to put a zip lock here to lock the wire in the stainless fork. And we also need to mount the seatbelt lock. And what you'll have to do is to push the sort of the loop on the spring here onto the tab. So I got it in place, and the wire is squeezed in the stainless fork here, and I will lock it in place with a zip tie here so it won't go anywhere. Let's cut it here. Perfect. It's time for mounting the electrical wire or harness here. And I'm going to route it the same way as stock with some minor modifications. So I will use this attaching point here with the clip here. You have to move it a little bit here further down the wire or electrical harness. For the wire in the car that will connect to this connector here, I will attach this kind of clamp. So I will put the wire in here and then I will lock it. And I will place this one right here. So let me walk you through how I have routed the electrical wire from the seatbelt lock. It goes behind the seat folding wire here and comes out in the stock position for the stock plastic clip here. Then it's routed to a new attaching point. I have routed it down here and it comes out to yet another new attaching point. These one weren't included in the kit, but you can find them in any hardware store. And then you have the two clips included in the kit. And then I drilled a new hole, putting the connector here. And I think the outcome is very good. And I have already done this install on the right passenger seat and it works just perfect. And then the wire from the car I just attach to this clip here. And it's also a solution I'm very happy with. So a very good install all in all. I think it looks very clean. The lowering brackets are in place and mounted, and as well as the plastic cover here. And I will just do a little bit of cleaning of the seat and then it's ready to go into the car again. Finally, both of the seats are back in the car, and I must say I'm happy with the result. Okay, the difference is not drastical, but it's enough. As I measured in my unboxing video, the new brackets lower the seating position by 27 millimeters, and I must say it's a noticeable difference. I installed these lowering brackets mainly because of my previous blocked view, and I will try to do a POV here. And the problem before was mainly that the high beam and low beam light was blocked by the steering wheel. In order to see the high and low beam light, I had to adjust the steering wheel up to a position where it didn't feel comfortable. But now I have the steering wheel in a position where I want it, and I see the high and low beam light here. So the end result is exactly what I was hoping for, and I would say that this is a good investment that I can recommend for anyone that wants to lower the seating position. But as I said, don't expect any drastical differences since it's only 27 millimeters. But I think it's a good improvement and definitely noticeable. I hope you found this video interesting and that you liked it. And if you did, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to be sure not to miss any future upcoming Abarth modification content. Thank you.